Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Radha Madhava Yasodanandana Raja Janardan Yasodanandana Raja Janardan Yasodanandana Raja Janardan Yamuna Tira Vancha Yamuna Tira Vancha Jaya Radha Madhava Madhava Kunja Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Yasodanandana Raja Janardan Yasodanandana Raja Janardan Yasodanandana Raja Janardan Yamuna Tira Vancha Yamuna Tira Vancha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Jana Vallabha Girivarata Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe Jai Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe Jaya Lalita Visakha Lalita Visakha Lalita Visakha Jaya Lalita Visakha Jaya Kṛṣṇa Balaram Kṛṣṇa Balaram Kṛṣṇa Balaram Jaya Kṛṣṇa Balaram Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Shrimati Gopal Krishna Goswami Kami Prabhupada sahite Prakashanti Vacha Charankirvan Shara Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatadesatari Om Ajnanam Timirandasya Yanam Shalakaya Chakshuromilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Caitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Kadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Serupang Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Devam Sri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakham Vitamscha He Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha Jai Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We continue reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, chapter 3, the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance, text number 73. Yes? Like the last time. Aṅgopāṅga, tīkṣṇa, astra, prabhura, sahite, saba, astra, haya, pāṣaṇḍa, dalite, aṅgopāṅga, tīkṣṇa, astra, prabhura, sahite, saba, astra, haya, pāṣaṇḍa, dalite, aṅgopāṅga, tīkṣṇa, astra, prabhura, sahite, saba, astra, haya, pāṣaṇḍa, dalite, aṅgopāṅga, tīkṣṇa, astra, prabhura, sahite, saba, astra, haya, pāṣaṇḍa, dalite. Prabhura sahite, saba, astra, haya, pāṣaṇḍa, dalite. Mataji's. Say saba, astra, haya, pāṣaṇḍa, dalite. Aṅga-upāṅga, tīkṣṇa, astra, prabhura, sahite. Say saba, astra, haya, pāṣaṇḍa, sahite. Word for word meaning, aṅga-upāṅga. Plenary portions and parts. Tīkṣṇa, sharp. Astra, weapons. Prabhura sahite, along with Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Say this, saba, all. Astra, weapons. Haya, are pāṣaṇḍa, the atheist. Dalite, to trample. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thus the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the form of His parts and plenary portions. All these weapons are competent enough to crush the faithless atheist. Everybody please repeat. Thus the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the form of His parts and plenary portions. All these weapons are competent enough to crush the faithless atheist. Purport. The word pāṣaṇḍa is very significant here. One who compares the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the demigods is known as a pāṣaṇḍa. Pāṣaṇḍas, trying to bring the Supreme Lord down to a mundane level. Sometimes they create their own imaginary God or accept an ordinary person as God and advertise him as equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are so foolish that they present someone as the next incarnation of Lord Caitanya or Kṛṣṇa, although his activities are all contradictory to those of a genuine incarnation. And thus, they fool the innocent public. One who is intelligent and who studies the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with reference to the Vedic context cannot be bewildered by the pāṣaṇḍas. Pāṣaṇḍas, or atheists, cannot understand the pastimes of the Supreme Lord or transcendental loving service to the Lord. They think that devotional service is no better than ordinary fruitive activities, karma. As the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 8 confirms, however, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees, saving the righteous and chastising the miscreants, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam, always curb this nonsensical atheist. Miscreants always want to deny the Supreme Personality of Godhead and put stumbling blocks in the path of devotional service. The Lord sends His bona fide representatives and appears Himself to curb this nonsense. Aṅga-upāṅga tīkṣṇa astra prabhura sahite, say saba astra haya pāṣaṇḍa dalite. Again, the translation, thus the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the form of His parts and plenary portions. All these weapons are competent enough to crush the faithless atheist. as far as we know, the Lord in his Narayan form is having four-arm form. Two of the hands are carrying, for the devotees, lotus flower and shank, conch. And also, he's having in his two hands, carrying chakra and club. So those are for the atheist. That's Lord Narayan. But Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu, he has weapons as well. His weapons are not as sharp, really weapons that can cut our heads. His weapons are his associates, eternal associates. It says that any one of his eternal associates can liberate any one of the universe or universes in the material world. This is how powerful they are. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that he can liberate the entire universe himself. Any one of the eternal associates of the Supreme Lord or his representatives, pure representatives, like Srila Prabhupada. Now, Srila Prabhupada's weapon is not sharp swords or axe. His main weapon to cut the material attachments of the conditioned souls is through his books, the knowledge. He says that also in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Arm with the sword of knowledge, cut these material attachments that we have. So, we have to, as members of the Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement, be also knowledgeable, especially of the books, Srila Prabhupada. He says that, I did not write these books just for selling. I wrote these books specifically for my disciples to read them. And ultimately, the conclusion of reading his books is to convince us to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When we meet a person in the street, immediately we ask them, please read these books. Please make your life sublime. Please make your life successful. Because these books are priceless. They are not of this world. As we've heard many times, I did not write these books. Kṛṣṇa wrote these books. He will wake up when we are about to sleep. And he will be up all night long, sleeping only 3 hours, practically. And that in the middle of the night, he will be so much absorbed that his pen or the dictaphone will give the relevant information that we need in the age of Kali. The purports that he contributed is relevant today and for the next 10,000 years. So much so that anyone who will read this book sincerely, they'll be considered as fortunate souls. Prabhupada was asked, what is the meaning of causeless mercy? What is the cause of the causeless mercy? When we say causeless mercy, seems to be doesn't have a cause, right? Prabhupada replies, the cause is the mercy itself. It's like to give someone a wealth, a big wealth, amount of wealth, for no reason at all. That is causeless mercy. But then, what is the usage of this wealth that one will receive? If the wealth that one receives will be misused, then it'll disappear immediately. It'll be gone. So, we have to somehow take advantage of this knowledge that's been given to us, coming from the disciplic succession, coming from Lord Kṛṣṇa himself. And if we do so, then we'll become convinced. One time, Srila Prabhupada asked his GBC man, so are you now convinced of this Kṛṣṇa consciousness? Most of them, they're like not able to reply immediately. Prabhupada says, if you are not convinced of this Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement, then how can you convince others? Does it make sense? So we have to be convinced, especially in defeating. Prabhupada gave this word pāṣaṇḍa. It's very significant here. Pāṣaṇḍa means ultimately non-believers in the existence of God, or atheists. There are many meanings also of pāṣaṇḍi or pāṣaṇḍa. Ultimately, a pāṣaṇḍa or pāṣaṇḍi, pāṣaṇḍi means singular. Is that, who knows Sanskrit here? Pāṣaṇḍi? Is that singular? And pāṣaṇḍas is plural? I don't know. Any Sanskrit wala here? Pakhandi also, pāṣaṇḍi, pakhandi. We were like that one time or another. Before coming to Kṛṣṇa consciousness, we were all pakhandis or pāṣaṇḍis. We're all non-believers. And somehow, again, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, through his bona fide representative, Srila Prabhupada, and his disciples, and the followers of Srila Prabhupada, we became fortunate. A pāṣaṇḍi means one who is under the control of the illusory energy. He thinks that he is equal or even better than God, or he is God. So how many times we've heard that kind of followers or persons who promote themselves, especially in India? As Prabhupada would say, there is a factory of God in India. Every day there is a born God. But one time, there was a student in a university meeting somewhere in England. So this student is kind of rebellious. So Prabhupada invited him on the stage. And then the student declared himself, I am God. Prabhupada says, no, you're not God, you are dog. And Prabhupada, sometimes he would show anger. So much so that the devotees will become bewildered when Prabhupada would face a Mayavad. A Mayavadi. If a Mayavadi will speak, of course, sometimes they camouflage themselves to be believer of God. And he would immediately tell his disciples, stop him. And sometimes he will become so red. See, when a person is angry, you can see by his face or his eyes. Yeah, or a person is red. That's the color of passion and anger. Blue is the color of lust. Not Kṛṣṇa, of course. Kṛṣṇa is unlimited lusty. In the Dwarka, where we are in now, Dwarka, pastimes in the 10th canto. So Prabhupada will show, and even the organizers will be, they cannot believe that how come a sadhu will be like this? A sadhu is supposed to be not showing any anger. But then, when it comes to presenting Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says, we should not compromise. Prabhupada would say, call spade a spade. But then, one must be tactful. One must present Krishna consciousness in such a way that we present it as it is and be always respectful. Respect should be always there. One time, there was a professor from Temple University. He came to see Prabhupada. He was a Hinduism teacher, and he's from India. So Prabhupada asked him, first question, so what is your meaning of Hinduism? And the professor cannot reply. And he says, I do not know. And Prabhupada says, then you're a cheater. And he was talking in front of his students, undergraduate students. Then you are a cheater. How can you say that you are a professor of Hinduism and you do not know your subject? Then you are a cheater. And then the professor said, he says, at least I'm an honest cheater. So how can you put together an honest cheater? It doesn't go together. If you're a cheater, then you are dishonest. So when we preach, especially, we have to be equipped. And this is what the verse says here, with sharp weapons. In Kali Yuga, we cannot kill the atheists, the pāṣaṇḍas, the non-believers, with weapons. That means with ammunitions, with guns or knife or whatever. No. We kill their atheistic mentality. We have to be equipped with knowledge that we cannot compromise. We have to speak strongly, defend our Siddhanta. To be representative of Srila Prabhupada, we have to know his books. We cannot go and sell the books, and then they will ask, have you read these books? No, sir. We just sell them. We just sell them. Our teacher told us to sell them. Then, how can you expect for them to believe what you're saying? Then we're just like businessmen. No, we're not. So we have to be careful also when we preach. When we preach, we should not imitate the non-devotees, trying to advertise their commodity, saying flattery languages or words. But then, that person, that devotee who is imitating a non-devotee in how to sell his products, will soon enough find himself to be a non-devotee. We should not use flowery languages just to flatter or just to make the other person good. But again, it has to be tactfully said. If you just immediately, hey, you're an atheist, you're worse than dogs in the street, we cannot like, Prabhupada can say, you're a rascal. But we cannot do like that, isn't it? We're not in that age, and we're not in that realized person to say a person a rascal. Especially the scientists and the academicians. It is very, very, it's like we had Bhakti Sarup Damodar Maharaj. Yes? He preached to the elite, to Nobel Peace Prize winners, to the highest level of academicians. And he was able to convince some of them that there is God. He did not use heavy words, but through the knowledge, he was able to convince them. And many symposiums or conferences, when he was still alive, they were made. They were organized. So we have that Bhaktivedanta Institute, and dealing with that kind of level of preaching. So another Pāṣaṇḍa is one who does not believe in the spirit soul, the superior potency of the Lord. He doesn't believe or distinguish between matter and spirit. Worshippers of impersonalists like Dattatreya, considering the body to be the self. Those who are overly absorbed in the conception of the body and bodily necessities. One who considers the demigods and Kṛṣṇa as one. In this purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that. One who disobeys the orders of Guru. Oh, is also a Pāṣaṇḍa. Is also an offender. Srila Jiva Goswami mentions also, a Pāṣaṇḍa means one who's chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and not trying to avoid the offenses while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He is also a Pāṣaṇḍa, or an offender. So, one time or another, we fall into this category. And maybe some of us are still in this category and not able to come up to the level where Srila Prabhupada will expect his followers, his disciples, grand disciples to be. Yeah? One time or another, we fall into this category. So we have many ways how we can get rid of this offensive mentality ourselves. There's a saying, charity starts at home. First, as Prabhupada says, yes, to save others is a great service. But greater than that is to save oneself first. And we have to work first ourselves. Just like this seminar of Mahatma Prabhu, I attended one session whereby in the seminar focus specifically how we can look deeper within ourselves first. Because it's easy to say others or repeat what we've heard from Srila Prabhupada, because this is how we preach. Prabhupada says, you just repeat what I said. And that is perfect. You may not be perfect, but because you repeat my words or the words of Lord Kṛṣṇa, then you are perfect. And even the lowest of man, it says here, Vande Nanta Bhutaishwaryam Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhum Nikcho Piyat Prasadat Shad Bhakti Shastra Pavartaka. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu, who has unlimited, wonderful opulences. By his mercy, even a person born as the lowest of men can spread the science of devotional service. So how we can spread Krishna consciousness, help the predecessor acharyas, our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, is to work on ourselves first. That's what the meaning of charity starts at home. We have to cultivate our Krishna consciousness in such a way that we are becoming stronger and stronger every day, and our faith towards the holy name, towards the Supreme Lord, towards the whole process increases day by day. Then in this way, we'll be so equipped that we will be sharp weapons to kill the mentalities, the atheistic mentalities of the conditioned souls. It's very simple. We have this good fortune. The good fortune that was given to us by Srila Prabhupada cannot be equaled by any amount of wealth available in the material world. Srila Prabhupada has saved us from the quagmire of material existence. And Prabhupada says that this movement will be remembered in the history of the world, that the movement is the one who saved the whole humanity from being barbarians. You know what a barbarian means? Srila Prabhupada, what is a barbarian? American. Or European? Barbarian? He doesn't know, he doesn't follow any rules. It's like he believes in hedonism. There is a comic, Hagar, the barbarian, is always drunk, he's always intoxicated, his wife will always beat him. Yeah? Because he doesn't know anything else. Either he's sleeping or drunk. Or just a sense enjoyer. Doesn't care. So we have a great task to do. The Prabhupada says also that if all the members of the Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement will become so sincere, we can conquer the whole world in 18 days. Just like the Bhagavad Gita. The whole battle in Kurukshetra was won after 18 days. So it's the same thing if all of us will become sincere. Our purpose only is to go back home, back to Godhead. That's why we are here. Now, if you have another purpose than that, you can still be here, but you'll be frustrated. More likely, you'll not be able to fulfill that. I had one person who's asking me, Maharaj, I've been chanting for so many years, and still I don't get a job. What to do? I'm chanting, but I cannot get a job. So what to do? Why don't you just spend your time applying for jobs instead of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? No, I did not tell that. I just told him, okay, you just continue chanting. Eventually you'll get a job. Preaching means para upakar, welfare activities for others. Para upakar. What's that verse? Where a devotee, when he sees others unhappy, he's unhappy. What's that verse? Para sukhi dukhi. Yeah, the materialists, when they see others happy, they are unhappy because they want themselves to be happy, but they're frustrated, they're miserable. But devotees is different. When they see others unhappy, he's also unhappy. He wants them to be happy by giving them Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And Prabhupada says also, we're just like selling diamond. Kṛṣṇa consciousness means we're offering the most precious gem or stone, diamond. But how many can purchase real diamond? Very few, because it costs a lot of rupees. Not even lakhs, the real good 5-carat diamond, maybe crores of rupees. So we're offering everyone. Prabhupada says we should not distinguish from one person to another person. We should give Kṛṣṇa to everyone. And the person who will take up Kṛṣṇa consciousness, he's the most intelligent person. He's the most fortunate person. Others, they're like broken glass, diamond-like. So they got cheated. Prabhupada says, if one wants to be cheated, there's a lot of cheaters. And he says there are only two kinds of person in this world, the cheaters and the cheated. And that's why Prabhupada says, in Krishna Balaram Mandir, don't go outside to hear others speaking. Of course, we go to Goshala. That's okay. Because the Hindi class is over there now. You can go there. But please, please, it doesn't matter how popular this person is. Outside of Krishna Balaram Mandir, don't go out. And Prabhupada says, if you're not satisfied with our classes here in Krishna Balaram Mandir, then you give the class. No, it's really dangerous. It's very risky. These so-called big katakars, sometimes they will even copy Prabhupada's words. They will cut and paste. And then, if the followers who are also so much enamored by the sweet words coming from, not his lotus mouth, but they will offer tulsi unto the feet of that person. And he'll be called Paramahamsa. Prabhupada never, he is very much against himself to be called even Jagat Guru. Why? Because he doesn't want to be in the same level as the many Jagat Gurus here. There's so many there's a Jagat Guru here, there's a Jagat Guru, there every Jagat Guru. The Prabhupada, no, he doesn't want to be addressed as Jagat Guru or Paramahamsa. No. There is this one person, he called himself as Paramahamsa something. And I saw a picture, tulsi leaf being offered to his feet. But only Krishna, we can offer tulsi, right? And this person is wearing tulsi garland. Have you seen Prabhupada wearing tulsi garland? Suti Kirta Prabhu. Maybe? He wore.
At the end, in the nod of his...
Yeah, okay. But we should not. We cannot imitate. Prabhupada, he put his murti right there while he's still present amongst us. Now, to put our murti while we are present, that is another thing. We cannot do that. Huh?
Where do you put your murti?
You can put mine like this size, no problem. So, we have to be careful, please. I hope this message will come across in the internet and some of our devotees who live in Vrindavan. No, they're very, very expert, word jugglery. And they will say, yes, if you ask them about what is Vrindavan, they can explain what is Vrindavan. How to approach Vrindavan, they can explain how to approach Vrindavan. But then they will say, when we get liberated, when we attain moksha, there is no difference between us and Narayan. That is the danger over there. That there is no difference between us and Narayan. Where did we hear this from? Srila Prabhupada's books. We are all individual, unique, spiritual entities, and Krishna is the one who provides everything. Nityo nityanam, chaitanas chaitananam. Among the plural living entities, there is one main singular entity who provides everything. And that is Krishna. There is no way that we will lose our identity. So one must be extra careful in this way. Miscreants always want to deny the Supreme Personality of Godhead and put stumbling blocks in the path of devotional service. The Lord sends His bona fide representatives and appears Himself to curb this nonsense. Now, these representatives of the Lord, not necessarily coming from India only, coming from different parts of the world. Once they take up the process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness seriously, then they become qualified to be representatives of Srila Prabhupada and the disciplic succession to curb the atheistic mentalities that's been hovering all over the world, even here in Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. I will stop here. Any question or comment? Yes, sir.
I don't want to be first.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said, if we repeat my words, that will be tactful.
Mm-hmm.
What if we don't believe something that Srila Prabhupada said, or we think it should be presented in somewhat different manner to suit the modern times? What is the position of such a person who thinks like that?
An acharya can change, can adjust. We're not acharyas. We're followers of the acharya, and our acharya, Srila Prabhupada. We should not be over-intelligent. Better Paramahamsa than our Guru Maharaj. If we just, there's nothing wrong. I mean, we don't know, Prabhupada, he came when it is needed the most. He went to America, he says, I did not come to learn, I came to teach. So, yeah, sometimes, others, because time, place, and circumstances, they said, oh yeah, we have to adapt. It's like, especially preaching to the New Age group. We have to speak in their own language. We cannot say Kṛṣṇa. We have to say the divine, the great, the magnificent. If you don't talk about Kṛṣṇa, as Prabhupada says that, you don't speak like the non-devotee speaks. Because soon enough, that devotee will find himself to become a non-devotee. That's very powerful. I remember reading that. So, of course, it's very difficult because you become used to it, saying in your own words. You can say, realization means you read something and say it in your own word but not changing anything. That is realization. That is different. You're still saying the same thing, but the way it is easily acceptable, received by the audience. Well, Prabhupada can speak to elementary grade schools, children, and he can speak to the Pope. He can speak to the highest level. But he did not change the Siddhanta. So we have to be careful. If you're not expert, then it'll be very difficult to get out of that because it becomes habitual. Do you understand what we're saying here? Some time, place, and circumstances, you may do it. It's like we have devotees preaching in different fields, especially in social media, to attract people. Yeah? So up to a certain extent, it's okay. But then you have to change also. You have to give them the right dosage. Prabhupada says we should be like an expert mendicant, giving the right dosage to the patient. You don't give too much, otherwise it'll be overdose, overkill.
Yes, sir.
As you were mentioning reading Caitanya Charitamrita. He said, oh, every day you should read Caitanya Charitamrita. And also the kirtan, but also constant reading of Bhagavatam. And he really enjoyed, as you mentioned, hearing his own books, Bhagavatam, Caitanya Charitamrita, because those were his spiritual realizations and ecstasies. So sometimes people find fault with society or GBC or the way things have been done or done, and that by finding fault there, they'd spend all their time on looking at the faults and rejecting the process of bhakti. You gotta filter through all that and just really see that Prabhupada, as an advanced Paramahamsa, just wanted to hear Caitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam. I know when Shruta Kirti was there, that Prabhupada would often read his own books. Isn't that right?
Every day. Every afternoon. It was always, when I first joined him, that was one of the things that it put you in awe to see that he read his books. Everything he had us do, he was doing. That's why he was Acharya.
Yeah.
But he read his books. I always say when he was reading his books, he wasn't like a proofreader. He wasn't looking for issues, wasn't looking for mistakes. He was relishing his books. So this is our...
Yeah,
hopefully we can
Prabhupada
attain
says,
that.
where can you find an author of a book who reads his own book? Once they wrote the book, they just, sign, give autograph, and that's it. They will not go back to that, isn't it?
That's what he said on the plane. He was reading his Bhagavad Gita as it is. And Pradyumna and I were sitting next to him. And he looked at us, he said, who do you know reads their own books once it's published? And of course then he answers his own questions generally. And he would say, no one. He said, once an author finishes a book, he'll never look at it again. He said, but I'm reading this Bhagavad Gita. Why? He said, because they're not my words. He said, they're Krishna's words.
Krishna's words. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he came to Radhakund, he met Prabhupada there, of course. He did the Brajamandal Parikrama. The Babajis, they were expecting that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will speak highly, esoteric, lila of Radha and Krishna. But he spoke on Sri Ishupanishad. Sri Ishupanishad is the preliminary study before the Bhagavad Gita. If Prabhupada says Bhagavad Gita is the ABC, what is Sri Ishupanishad then? So the Babajis in Radhakund, they were surprised. What is this?
Well, I think in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada also says if you don't believe some aspects of the Bhagavad Gita, no need to read the Bhagavad Gita, because we actually have to accept that Krishna spoke. And there may be some things that may not tally with our intelligence or our experience in the world. And that's just because maybe we don't have the proper understanding or proper angle. Better to put that aside than think, oh, this is a challenge, Prabhupada said it, but I don't believe that, Because if you go down that alley, you're actually committing offenses.
That's
and you end up off track and just...
Yeah.
Because you may not understand something, or maybe Prabhupada said in a certain way, according to time, place, and circumstance, and our limited, tiny intelligence and limited experience may give us a different outlook. We shouldn't reject it or think, well, that's wrong. I don't accept that. I accept everything else, but I don't accept that. You can't do that.
No. Prabhupada says, my books are like sugar candy. Sweet in the beginning, sweet in the end, and sweet in the middle. It's all sweet. Sugar candy, you go to,
Hungry.
you go to like like a Ferris wheel, there is like Mela. Prabhupada's books are like that. If you'd say, oh, this, no, I cannot, this doesn't make sense. oh yeah, I like this. No, it's not. They're all good. They're all going to be always good and will be always good. Srila Prabhupada ki! Tayo Gaur Sitana Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Dhanyavad.